Welcome to CNBC TV18 special coverage here live from the World Economic Forum's annual meeting in Davos. I'm Shereen Bhan. It's a very cold morning here in Davos, which by the way is the highest town in Europe. Davos of course is in Switzerland and it's been playing host to the World Economic Forum's annual meetings for over 50 years now. So what's the fuss about Davos? There's criticism and there is plenty to be said about why people continue to think it's important and relevant. Let's talk about some of those issues as I show you what Davos is really about, a behind the scenes look of what happens here in Davos over the next 5 days here as global leaders converge for the World Economic Forum's annual meeting. Remember, this time around, the Davos theme, the overarching theme is going to be collaboration in an intelligent age. Why is WEF discussing collaboration? Because remember, we are in a world which is being plagued by geopolitical tensions, geopolitical fissures. In fact, is it a world in geopolitical recession is one of the key questions. And what will this mean as far as globalization is concerned, which has already been seeing a fair degree of retreat? And what will it mean as far as being able to create a new world order? Those will be some of the issues that get discussed here in Davos. Now, this is the promenade. This is essentially the Davos High Street, which gets taken over by companies for this week when the world converges here to brainstorm. It's a little bit like speed dating. What really goes on is meetings through the day, and some of them can start as early as 6 in the morning, if not earlier, and continue through the course of the day. There are about 300 sessions in the Congress Center, which is where all of the key meetings take place. That is the hub of the action, so to speak, and that's right down this road. But this is where you will see some of the hotels and you will see some of the companies that set up home quite literally to showcase what's on offer here in Davos. Let me take you through who is going to be here in attendance. And lots of heads of state, but the big one, Donald Trump. He's not going to be here in person, but he is going to be addressing the World Economic Forum virtually. Now remember, Donald Trump has addressed the World Economic Forum twice as president in his previous term. 2018 is when Donald Trump was here for the first time as president, and then he returned in 2020 to mark the 50th anniversary of the World Economic Forum. So Donald Trump is going to be the big headliner. And the questions that people would want answers to is an America First policy going to mean an America only policy? And Donald Trump, in his first term here in Davos at the World Economic Forum, had made it clear to people that America First didn't mean America alone. But remember, the context is very different this time around. What we have seen Donald Trump say through the course of his campaign and of course after having won the elections is that he will not be afraid of going after countries that he believes have been unfair. So there is of course that threat of tariffs, and that is going to be the key one to watch out for. Will the tariffs range between 10 to 20 to 60%? We don't know. And of course, all of those will be decisions that the Trump administration will take forward. Remember, World Economic Forum's meeting also coincides with the Trump inauguration on Monday night. So a lot of attention is going to be on what's happening at the Trump inauguration. Remember, it's now been shifted indoors on account of the temperatures, but all eyes will be on the Trump inauguration. Lots of big names from the world of business will of course be in attendance. Elon Musk will be there. All the tech companies are likely to be there as well, being represented by their leaders, by their CEOs. So that is going to occupy mind space and headlines, and Davos is going to find it hard to battle with what's coming in from the Trump inauguration in terms of mind space. That's as far as Donald Trump is concerned. There are many others who are going to be here at the World Economic Forum. Representing the EU, Ursula von der Leyen. There is, of course, going to be the German Chancellor. He's facing a tough time back in Germany at this point in time with elections on the anvil. Then, of course, we will have Zelensky here. Of course, The hope is that just as we have seen with Israel and Gaza, that there is likely to be some kind of a resolution for the war that's been going on now in Ukraine. And the hope is that perhaps we could see some resolution there. So Zelensky is going to be here. In fact, just around the corner, we will get to show you the Ukraine house that sets up here as well. In fact, let me just show you on the left, we've got the We Lead Lounge. This is in association with the Confederation of Indian Industry, and this is something that India has worked with the World Economic Forum, with the Gates Foundation to set up, and this is where Smriti Irani is going to be. So this is the We Lead Lounge, and this is in partnership with CII, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and the Alliance for Global Good, Gender Equity and Equality. This is going to be talking about the agenda for gender parity and why that is important. The Women Leadership Lounge here in Davos, which does have a very strong India connection. Lots of countries, as I pointed out, being represented here in Davos. You've got Mongolia right on the right-hand side, on my right-hand side here. In Davos, and you've got lots of other countries also jostling for space. As I pointed out, we've got Ukraine just coming up on your left, and right next to that is the Brazil house. So why is it important for countries to be here in Davos? Many believe that this is a great way to actually be able to pitch the story to global investors. There are a lot of bilateral meetings that are planned, and that's the idea, that in one setting, under one roof, you get to see people from different parts of the world, and the hope is that you will be able to draw in investments. Now, there is no accurate number from an India perspective. By the way, this is Ukraine. This is the Ukraine house here, and as I said, we will have President Zelensky coming into Davos. He is going to be one of the global leaders here in Davos, one of the heads of state. This is the Ukraine house, and this is where you will see plenty of action taking place as well. And again, the hope is that perhaps 2025 will be the year that we see some sort of a breakthrough as far as the Ukraine-Russia conflict is concerned. Of course, no indications of that just yet. On my left, the Brazil house, so lots of countries here being represented on the promenade. As I was pointing out, there is no accurate number of what Davos meetings actually lead to in terms of actual investments. There are plenty of MOUs that get inked, plenty of MOUs that get signed, and it is really a great way to tell the world what your story is, what the outlook is, and that is what countries attempt to do. That is what world leaders attempt to do here in Davos. In fact, over the course of the last 50 years of the World Economic Forum, it has become an effort to bring together business leaders and policymakers to really try and establish what will be the rules to drive a shared future. In fact, Klaus Schwab, who was the founder and continues to be very active at the World Economic Forum, his idea of stakeholder capitalism has been something that has, of course, been discussed, but there's been a fair degree of criticism on how much the world has moved away from that, and whether we now need to look at a different approach when we talk about capitalism, one that works for everybody. There's, of course, the other take as far as capitalism is concerned, something that Ruchir Sharma was talking about here on our program, and he's, of course, put a whole new book on it, and the idea of government intervention actually making capitalism less favorable for entrepreneurship, for creative destruction, and how government intervention and large bailouts have come in the way of capitalism and what it was meant to do. So we continue to walk down the Davos promenade, and we're now getting into the area where you will start to see lots of companies. Here you've got NASDAQ. We will, of course, be in conversation with the folks at NASDAQ on CNBC TV18. It's been a record year for the public market. So here's the NASDAQ stall and the NASDAQ pavilion here in Davos. And as I pointed out, a great year for the public markets the world over. Of course, as far as the US is concerned, the tech concentration continues to be something that has driven markets. But back home in India, it's been fabulous year as far as IPOs are concerned, and especially for some of those new age companies that listed. So that's also going to be something that we talk about here when we speak with business leaders. This is a little bit of a shopping area on our right, but up ahead, that's Uber. Dara Khosrowshahi, the CEO of Uber, is going to be here. Remember, you've heard Dara on my show, and we've had several conversations with him about the future for Uber, and of course he has managed to turn things around significantly for Uber, which finds itself in a much healthier position today. So that's the Uber Pavilion, and Dara Khosrowshahi will be here talking about what he believes is likely to be the future of urban mobility as we move forward. Right up ahead, you've got South Africa, Global Impact, African Excellence at South Africa, that will be the host of the G20, and that's the South African House. Cyril Ramaphosa is going to be here in Davos at the World Economic Forum. He's also one of the heads of state who will be in Davos representing South Africa. Of course, as I pointed out, they take over the G20 tomorrow. We've got plenty of people here. Hi, good morning. How are you? Good morning. How are you? Are you enjoying your time in Davos?
Yes, we are going to work.
And what are you looking forward to the most?
Meet everyone and for the betterment of the economic.
For the betterment of the economy.
Of the world.
So what?
You come from India?
Yes, from India. Where are you from?
Punjab, India.
Punjab, India. आप कहाँ से? पंजाब में कहाँ से?
पंजाब से मैं वैसे तो हरियाणा से हूँ, अम्बाला से।
अच्छा, तो आप यहाँ पे कैसे आए?
वैसे घूमते फिरते आ गया।
घूमते फिरते आ गए। बड़ी लंबी घूमते फिरते आ गए आप। तो कब आए आप यहाँ पे?
मैं रहता हूँ।
आप ज्यूरिख में रहते हैं। अच्छा।
20 years living here.
और तो आप ये डावोस में वर्ल्ड इकोनॉमिक फोरम के लिए पहली बार आ रहे हैं कि?
नहीं, हम तीसरी बार आ रहे हैं।
तीसरी बार आ रहे हैं।
हमारी एक रेस्टोरेंट है खान्स तारा के नाम से।
जी।
तारा रेस्टोरेंट इंडियन।
हाँ।
तो उसकी कैटरिंग करते हैं हम।
अच्छा, तो क्या खिला रहे हैं आज आप डावोस में? क्या है मेन्यू पे, क्या है?
आप आए?
Well, that's lovely.
ये हमारे शेफ हैं जी दोनों।
नमस्ते जी, बहुत आपको शुभकामनाएं। आप कुकिंग करने वाले हैं और काफी लोगों को खाना खिलाने वाले हैं। तो
हम लोग शुरू हो गए
तो
आपको काफी फॉलो करता था मैं। लास्ट ईयर का गीता गोपीनाथ का इंटरव्यू पढ़ा।
थैंक यू जी, थैंक यू सो मच। इट्स वेरी नाइस टू हियर दैट यू वाचिंग CNBC TV18।
कभी इंटरेस्टिंग होता है आपका 2-3 काफी
नहीं, बहुत अच्छा लगा आप लोगों से मिलके, एंड वी विश यू ऑल द वेरी बेस्ट। बिल्कुल जी, इंडिया वालों को अब नमस्ते, सत श्री अकाल।
कुछ सक्सेस हो जाए।
जरूर होगी आपको बहुत सक्सेस मिले और बहुत शुभकामनाएं।
मैं ऑलरेडी दिया कि promenade is captured by the
Indians. Yes. हम पहुंच ही गए। आप बिल्कुल भारत के सामने, और बिल्कुल तो आप लोग को भी डावोस के लिए बहुत शुभकामनाएं, एंड थैंक यू। बिल्कुल खाएंगे जी, बिल्कुल खाएंगे। थैंक यू इंडिया की तरफ से, थैंक यू सो मच। एंड दिस इज इट, दिस इज द फर्स्ट इंडिया पवेलियन, सो टू स्पीक, India Bharat, and as I pointed out, this is the first time that we have India putting its states together, technically under two roofs. And what we've seen happen over the last several years is that states have come out here in Davos. So it's of course been the central government, but also increasingly the number of states being represented here in Davos has gone up quite significantly. It used to be Chandrababu Naidu. He was the original Davos man from a state's point of view, but now we've seen Maharashtra, Telangana, in fact even UP now here in Davos as well. Of course, the chief minister is not going to be here, but we do have ministers from the UP government who will be here. So this is the first India house, so to speak, and this is going to be home to UP, Telangana and Kerala. So Telangana, Kerala and UP are going to be part of the India House together, and it's also going to be interesting because this is the federal story. This is the beauty of India's federal story, and it's also its strength. So showcasing its diversity and its unity here in Davos will be something to watch out for. We will of course show you the second India House in a second. But as I pointed out, a lot of AI continues to gather attention, and promenade space as well. Here you've got Qualcomm of course talking about compute, the power of compute, and you need to be very, very careful while walking here because it's -3 degrees and the roads are icy. So we have to be careful. My camera person Amrit is doing a great job so far of being able to maneuver, the treacherous roads that we're on. And now on to the right, you will start to see a lot more of Indian representation. You've got HCL Tech, and here's HCL Tech in Davos. Roshni Nader and CVK will be here representing HCL Tech. Of course, all Indian tech companies have a pavilion here on the promenade, and that's HCL Tech for you. Supercharging progress. That's the HCL story here on its Davos branding. And up ahead, that is the next India Pavilion, India, which is going to be home to Andhra Pradesh. Remember, Chandrababu Naidu is going to be here. It is home to Tamil Nadu and Maharashtra. So 3 states, so total 6 states here in Davos, 3 in the house that we just saw, which was Telangana, UP and Kerala. And here we have Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu and Promenade and Andhra Pradesh. Devendra Fadnavis, the Chief Minister of Maharashtra, will also be here in Davos, as will Revant Reddy, the Chief Minister of Telangana. So 3 Chief Ministers will be here in Davos. Let me show you what we are saying to the world here. And of course, all of this has been set up by Invest India. So let's take a look at the themes that India is going to be showcasing. We're going to go right inside. The themes that India is showcasing: the Indian semiconductor market is set to triple by 2032. So semiconductors will be part of the story that India is pitching, from silicon to success. And again, we've got semicon, the mission that the government has announced. We've already started to see investments coming in there. So semiconductors, electric mobility, EVs to account for over 40% of India's automotive market. EVs will be the other big theme that will be discussed here as part of the India story. So this is India, the roadmap to a $32 trillion GDP by 2047. India's economic overview, so some data and numbers and statistics here being highlighted here at the India Pavilion. Across the India Pavilion is the Cognizant Pavilion. Of course, this is the other tech company here. We've got Ravi Kumar, the CEO, who's going to be here at the World Economic Forum. And remember, on Monday, CNBC TV18 will celebrate 25 years of being India's leading business news channel and 20 years of covering Davos. We have an event lined up here, so watch out for that. But a quick sneak peek of what you can expect on Monday. As we keep walking down the promenade, you continue to see tech companies dominated. You've got Intel. It's of course been a difficult time for Intel globally at this point in time. We've of course seen lots of changes being announced there. But AI inside for a new era. You will of course shortly also see a capsule that I've put together on all the AI slogans or AI related slogans here and how every company is making its AI pitch. You'll get to see that in a second. We've got Wipro up ahead. And again, it's all about AI for Wipro. On the right there, that's Wipro. And that's the AI taglines. We do AI, you change the future. We do AI, you save lives. We do AI, you can rest assured. So that is Wipro for you. And it's kind of sharing space with Amazon, which is across from it. So there's Amazon on the left and Wipro on the right. Things are a bit quiet here. It is a Sunday morning. It's, as I pointed out, -3 degrees, so not too much by way of traffic or people. But the World Economic Forum technically kicks off tomorrow. So these streets, which currently look empty, will be packed. The World Economic Forum this year has made a concerted effort to try and restrict the numbers, because there was feedback that the town was being overrun because the number of people attending had just gone up dramatically. So this time around, there is an attempt to try and limit the numbers, and both in terms of the access available to people to be here in Davos for the World Economic Forum. There are limits, there have been some curbs and restrictions that have been put in place. Here we are at Bank of America. You will see Brian Moynihan on CNBC TV18. He's going to join us for a conversation, as he always does here, to talk about what's happening as far as the global economy is concerned, what happens to the dollar, and what happens to emerging market flows. So here's Bank of America. We do have some bags here. Usually Jamie Dimon is a regular in Davos as well. And this is what everyone's talking about. Agentic AI, the impact of AI agents on the workforce. Salesforce has, of course, made that its big story, and that's the Salesforce Pavilion right there. The claim, 33% more accurate than DIY AI and 2 times more relevant. So this is the big Mark Benioff pitch. He's going all in there on agentic AI. And Salesforce is going to be talking about how agents are going to amplify human effort and human endeavor. And of course, there's a debate on what that's eventually going to mean for jobs, whether you make jobs in certain sectors, in certain kinds of jobs redundant, or is it largely going to amplify human effort? That's the question. We're now here at the TCS Panorama Lounge. TCS, of course, has been a Davos regular, and they host a reception which is one of the most sought after tickets here in Davos, in something called the Dome. So this is TCS right here with the slogan of being the perpetually adaptive enterprise, and that's going to be an important theme here in Davos, in a world which is fraught with uncertainty, in a world that's fraught with no clear answers on how things are going to play out because of the kinds of disruptions and disruptors we see in global leaders. Being adaptive, being agile will be key. We're here now at Cisco, making AI work for you. Remember, Cisco, of course, has been a long-term committed India investor. In fact, they very recently set up a new facility in the state of Tamil Nadu, and we will, of course, speak with the Commerce Minister of Tamil Nadu about what they expect this time around for investments and the kinds of MOUs they're likely to ink here in Davos. You've got Qatar here also jostling for mind space and for attention. Here's Invest Qatar setting up shop here. And of course, right next to Qatar, you've got IBM. Again, it's all about AI. So IBM clearly pitching the Watson story here on the promenade as part of its plans for the future. We're now coming closer to one of the hotels that is, of course, one of the most sought after hotels. It's called the Belvedere, and this is where you will usually find most people hold their meetings, a lot of events and so on and so forth. So the Belvedere is one of the most sought after hotels and of course home to a lot of companies who do their events through the course of the Davos week. There's snow here in the parking area, and as I pointed out, it is a cold morning. And we're now getting closer and closer to the Congress Center. The Congress Center is where you will have most of the meetings taking place, where you have all the official sessions of the World Economic Forum taking place. And of course, it's also home to the CNBC TV18 studio. The CNBC TV18 studio has been operational in the Congress Center now for several years, and we set it up yesterday, so we're all set and ready to go. And of course, we have 50 plus interviews at last count lined up. We will of course be speaking with lots of business leaders. We will be speaking with the Indian delegation that's being led by Ashwini Vaishnav. He's going to be here shortly, and we will of course be talking to him. Other ministers from the union government here include Chirag Paswan, C.R. Patil, Jayant Chaudhary. There will of course be the DPIIT secretary who will be here as well. So that's as far as the Indian delegation is concerned. Things get pretty tight. So far, it's, as I said, the World Economic Forum hasn't started just yet, but security gets tight once the forum actually starts. And what you will see is that there will be security checks at different points, and you will see us having to take jackets and bags and everything off and going through security checks to be able to access the main areas. So you'll see security counters through the course of this road as we move forward. So let's quickly walk. This is, of course, where we have more companies, and we'll be heading. This is Coinbase right here, and of course, what a year it's turned out to be for the crypto markets, and that will certainly be something that will be discussed here. Of course, we've seen global business leaders, especially bankers, continuing to be fairly divided on the issue of cryptos, but it's been a scorching year as far as cryptocurrencies are concerned. Coinbase right here in Davos, and as we move forward, here's Meta on the right. Meta, of course, is pitching wearables, the future of wearables. That's Orion, the glasses, and that's Meta for you. So it is also going to be making its claims on how it hopes to change the world with AI. So pitching the wearable story here in Davos, that's Meta. And right next to that is Korea. So Korea also one of the countries being represented here in Davos. And what we have seen happen is Taiwanese companies looking at investing in India, and that is likely to be part of the conversations here as well in terms of some of the meetings and the bilaterals that take place. So Taiwan, of course, from a semiconductor point of view, has been a story that India is hoping to partner with. Here's the Emirates. Impossible is possible. This is the Emirates Lounge here. They've been on the Davos promenade the last few years, and this is part of their attempt to try and continue to capture world attention. So that's the Emirates Lounge, and we're now heading closer to Infosys, being AI first. That's the Infosys pitch here on the promenade, and Infosys Cobalts being showcased here. So that's Infosys for you on the left, right opposite the Zurich house. And we will, of course, be speaking with Salil Parekh right here in Davos. He will join us bright and early and talk about what the world looks like. Of course, we just recently heard from him after their results, but we'll have a more in-depth conversation on the outlook for 2025, but more importantly, what the AI efforts are resulting in. Remember, the conversations here on AI now fast shifting to return on investment. The kinds of money being spent, billions and billions of dollars being spent globally by tech companies on AI, but jury's still out on what it's going to result in terms of benefits and what it could potentially mean in terms of return on investment and how soon. So I think that's up for discussion and debate here as well. Last year, of course, Sam Altman was here, and he was the big draw on the back of the kind of breakout moment that OpenAI has seen. And well, it's been quite a year for OpenAI in terms of the kind of fundraise that they've been able to drive, and the kind of valuations that they've been able to drive as well. Well, look what's here. Familiar stuff. This is the CNBC sanctuary. This is, of course, our colleagues from CNBC, and this is their home. This is where CNBC globally puts together their Davos events and their Davos showcase. So it's called the sanctuary, and this is going to be where our colleagues are over the next few days. And we're getting closer now to the Congress Center. You can probably see signs of it, and what is popularly called the flag area, when you want to tell people where should you meet in Davos. typically you would sort of say it's the flag area, which is where you will see the flags being put up. A few of them have been put up already, but you'll see plenty more coming up in a short while from now. So we're going to take you inside the Congress area and take you to the CNBC TV18 studio to get a look at where all the action takes place. Now, there's, as I pointed out, been a fair degree of criticism over the years on whether Davos is really relevant. Is it just a meeting ground of the elite? Does anything really get done there in terms of global solutions? And I think while some of that criticism is fair, it's also an opportunity for people, global leaders specifically, to come together and meet in the next 5 days, as opposed to having to fly back and forth around the world. So in a way, it does give people the opportunity to get together. This is a captive audience over the next 5 days. So it will have to, of course, work harder in terms of being able to establish itself as a place that delivers on outcomes. But there's plenty of research work that gets done. For instance, the Global Risks Report, which comes in ahead of the World Economic Forum's annual meeting, that talks about the number one risk over the next 2 years being disinformation and misinformation. And of course, environmental climate-related risks continue to be one of the key risks, but misinformation and disinformation over the next 2 years will be the top global risk as per the World Economic Forum. Global growth. What's the outlook? What's going to be the outlook as far as inflation if President Trump follows through on his very aggressive plans as far as tariffs are concerned? What happens to US inflation? What happens to the dollar? Those will, of course, be big questions. What happens to emerging market flows? Those will, of course, be the big questions here in Davos. We will, of course, wrap things up here. I hope that gave you a behind-the-scenes look at what's buzzing here at the World Economic Forum and what you should watch out for over the next 5 days. And do remember to stay tuned to CNBC TV18. We'll have plenty more lined up for you right here. But from all of us here for now, goodbye and many thanks for watching.